Join in 1 second, please. All right, there we go. Cool. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good, good, good. All right. Well, I hope everybody had a great trading day today.
Awesome, awesome. Good, good, good.
What a choppy day today in the market. So pretty much anticipated here. We've been chopping since Memorial Day, since before Memorial Day, and the only big event really coming up is the Fed, which is tomorrow. And so let's see if they get out. Now I have seen Fed days. I have seen Fed days where we chop into the Fed day and we continue to chop, but then it's like the next day or like right at the end of the day things get going, or the next day things get going, right? So the other big thing coming up this week is we've got quad witching, right? So we've got quadruple expiration day on Friday. So again, this week may still be kind of funky altogether if we don't really move after the Fed. You know, I mean, they're expecting them to be a little bit hawkish tomorrow. And who knows, they might even raise rates, but who knows how the market will react to that. So that being said, if we end up kind of chopping or not really getting much movement off of it, then we'll go to quad witching day, we'll see how it goes. And then next week, once we start with a fresh option expiration, right, on the monthlies, fresh futures and all that stuff, we should probably see some action at least going into the next week, right? So anyway, so good stuff there. But so anyway, guys, this week we're talking about Elliott Wave channels and more. So today is kind of like a channel and more, but I'm also going to be focusing on a type of channel today, just kind of defining it and showing you how to set it up. And then tomorrow we're going to talk about how to use it with Elliott Wave. Okay. So before we get started, everything we're going to talk about is for educational purposes only and not investment advice. So please take a moment to review this disclaimer. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good, good, good. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look and see where we left off with the market here today, and then we're going to take a look at the futures and see what we're up to or down to here this evening and what might be setting up going into tomorrow. And then we'll take a look at the topic, and then we'll go through questions and chart requests. So let's get started. All right, so SPX, guys, you know, still green here on the monthly chart. We were down 8 points here today. It's not really much. So you can see that we're just chopping around. This weekly chart right now is just super narrow range, right? So if you just kind of, we've had a lot of chop here going into Memorial Day, right? This week here, right, was a pretty choppy one, 43 points, and this we're only 23 points right here. So we're getting pretty narrow range right here. We tagged all-time highs, but it really didn't feel like much of a celebration. So we just kind of tagged it and kind of drifted off of it. McClellan Oscillator is still okay, so it doesn't really feel like the top is in yet, right? So we'll see where we go from there. But tomorrow's Fed day should be pretty indicative of what might be going on. And then, of course, quad witching, like we said, Monday next week could be very, very interesting, right? So that being said, SPX today, guys, a little bit of another bounce off the ADMA, right? So it was all about today going back to the scene of the breakdown and then just kind of chopping after that, right? Because yesterday we had this crazy push here at the end of the day, and then we just kind of came back here to test it. Then we chopped after that. So that kind of gave us a little bit of action here today. That being said, kind of tricky here with the Elliott Wave count. You know, this could be the finish of a full wave up, right? If this is a wave 5 ending diagonal, right? If that is the case, right, then maybe after the Fed tomorrow, like, we could be working on a larger A, B, C type corrective pattern, right? So we definitely want to keep an eye on that here going into tomorrow. But in the meantime, probably still some chop unless some major news comes out. So, and not really much on the radar. So we'll see how that goes. That being said, let's see the futures and see how we're doing here this evening. So again, the chop continues. We're down about 50 cents here this evening. Not really too much going on here. We've just kind of been drifting down a little bit since the close. And these guys right here, I don't know, it's like the three guards of the gate or something like that. Just really interesting stuff right here. How we just kind of rejected. Now we're kind of drifting down off of it. So at this point, you can kind of look at maybe this geometric line. We're kind of holding that, kind of bouncing off of that right now. So see how that holds. If we do break down below there, we may test these levels right here, the 42.32 area. Maybe this guy right here, and then of course the lows if they want to get aggressive in any sort of selling tonight. But we'll see what we go. I wouldn't be surprised if we kind of chop around. Now, if we break over this by the morning, right, we could start to see some more constructive action. Who knows? They may try to buy the dip a little bit ahead of the Fed, right? So we'll see how that goes too. So good stuff there. All right. So again, we're just going to keep an eye on those geometric lines going into tomorrow. So guys, I'm really excited here today. We've been talking about Elliott Wave channels and more. And today we're going to go into more. I'm not going to get into too much Elliott Wave detail. I just want to go over the basic construction of a different type of channel. And we have talked about these in the past. But I just want to kind of go over it right now just so you can understand the, and I'm sure many of you know about it, but we've done some videos on it in the past. But just so everybody can understand like kind of the basics and why the movement of these things are so interesting, right? So I'm gonna pull up a clear chart here on on the SPY. And today we're going to talk about linear regression channels. Okay, so to pull that up in TOS, all you got to do is click on your little toolbar button right here. Right, usually it's default with the little hand thing, right, the little thing that you can do a pointer and all that stuff. If you go to your channels, if you go one below where we found the channel yesterday, there's a little R over a channel. That's a regression channel. So what's a regression channel? So a regression channel is basically, it calculates, depending on how big you make it, it finds the essentially the mean, and it's like a mean reversion type tool that shifts as price action changes. Okay, so just to kind of give you a quick illustration right here, I'm gonna draw this regression channel starting up here, right? And you can kind of see how it shifts. See how it shifts back and forth, especially in the early stages of it. It starts to shift back and forth. Okay, so. Right, so normally if we drew a channel, right, it would kind of go straight there and go across. But this one, now that we're moving down, the regression channel moves. So the tricky part about regression channels is that oftentimes if you draw it too late, like so for instance, if I drew it here to here, everybody would be like, wow, that's amazing! Look at that! It bounced right off of the the 2R we like to call it, or the two regressions out, right, two standard deviations out, right, and so. So we call it the 2R out, and it's like, wow, that's amazing. Look, it came all the way up to this level right here, and it bounced. Well, that's because it's automatically mean reverting, right? So it's automatically going to basically the best fit line of the price action here, depending on how long you draw it, right? And so that's one of the tricky parts about it. It makes it tough, right? Because if you're following it all day, right, you can see right here, it's like, oh, here it was perfect, right? It's like, oh, look at that. We got all the way to the top of the linear regression channel, and we kind of came down. But if you continue to draw it, right, you get this here, and look, it starts to rotate, right? And so now it's a little bit different. Now it looks kind of perfect too, right? So, and it's only because of that linear regression, right? So, and that mean reversion that it does automatically. So that's what it does. So that's the regression channel. So what does this have to do with Elliott Wave? We're going to get more into it this week, but what I want to show you is this tool. We're going to talk about it more tomorrow with Elliott Wave, but I want to show you this. Okay, so once we get something defined on it, we don't have to keep the linear regression channel on. Right, so there is an indicator in here that's called like TTM LRC, I believe. So it's basically one of John Carter's tools, the TTM LRC. So if you just type in TTM, you can find it. So that's a TTM linear regression channel. This one automatically moves with your price action. Okay, this is not what we want for calculating Elliott Wave. Right, you can kind of define these and kind of get those going later. But what I want to show you at least is this one technique that we do. And so one of the things that we do like to do is this, and here's what we look at, right? So we start the linear regression channel, and when we find where we want to put this, we're going to talk about more about identifying that later. When we find a little bit more how we want to define this, let's say I put it right here, instead of letting it expand and continue to move with price action, what we're going to do is we're going to right-click on it, and we could do right extension. Okay, so we just basically extend it to the right. Okay, so it's no longer moving with price. Or with the closing price, right? Now it's just it's set in stone, and then we can stretch it out. And now it starts to get very, very interesting, right? So it's not standard to the type of channels that we drew yesterday, and I'm going to show you tomorrow how we can actually get some really cool wave counts out of this using this technique. And I think you guys are going to like it. And that's just a quick review right there of what a linear regression channel is. And like I said, once again, let's say we like it right here, right? If we don't want to continue it to move with the rest of it. If we like this, and we'll talk about reasons more tomorrow, we just put the right extension on, right, and it'll show us where it goes, right? And that starts to get very interesting, right? So it's a little bit different than drawing a regular channel, but it also gives us some pretty cool clues into price action. We'll go over that a little bit more tomorrow. So good stuff. At this point now, if anybody has any questions or chart requests, please feel free to plug those in the chat window, and we'll get through as many as we can and try to wrap up as early as possible so we can all get a good night's sleep and have another awesome trading day tomorrow. So good stuff, good stuff. So Shirley sent a few in via email. So let's get these pulled up right here. So Shirley, you've got MViz on the radar. This is a popular name these days. So MViz had a nice pop recently, right? Kind of the little bit of meme stock type movement right there out of this geometric level. Good volume breaking out. And here, right, sort of works its way up. So let's do this. Let's put our channels on it that we talked about yesterday. Right, so if we kind of wanted to look at this as a channel, right, so we have this, right, we started to break above it here with some volume, we got a little bit of follow through to the upside. Now, Roku is an example that did not get follow through the upside. You really need to see that. And so here we did not. We got an upper shadow. It's kind of are chopping around in this range right now. So at this point now, right, we can kind of look at maybe as another channel right here. This, and like we saw yesterday or the other day, right, it looks like we could be working on a bit of a flag there. So keep an eye on that for the MViz. NVAX, this I think had a little bit of news today, and enough to bring it down, right? So it got down below a thin 15-minute cloud, big volume yesterday, right? Kind of a little heads up here that might be working on some downside movement, and boom, below the 80 MA there too. Not increased volume, but still pretty nasty candle. JMIA, let's take a look. So JMIA, guys, this is one of the hardest names to predict. So I was pretty bearish on this into the close too, but I was also bearish on this day. I just don't mess with it until you see a clear chart pattern, right? So this one looked like it would have went down, right? It had 2 days of chop, and then it finally got a little bit of fall through here. Now it looks like it's getting fall through here. Now the real question is going to move, right? You saw this candle right here, you got sideways, and it started to go. So what I would do here is just kind of check this. It looks like it could be working on a sideways head and shoulder. So let's see if it's working on the shoulder right here. Oh, I got the channel up here. So the shoulder right here. Right, so just kind of see if it maybe does decide to grind its way back up here, and then maybe it'll break out again. Remember, this one was the king of the head and shoulder, right? So, or the cup and handle. So see how the head and shoulder goes here. So good stuff there. And you got Tilray on the radar too. Let's take a look. So Tilray still making some downside follow through. Pot sector was overall weak today, and Nikola. So Nikola is definitely on my radar today too. It's going to be on the radar again tomorrow. It looks pretty bearish. The only thing here is that it's holding the cloud, right? So just kind of keep an eye on that there. It did get some follow through of this breakout candle. We got one more breakout and kind of just started to chop after that. So watch your geometric line right here, right? And then kind of your move right here. We're starting to break down to that with increasing volume. But if it comes back in this range, look to see if it works its way up. So good stuff there. Awesome, Shirley. I really appreciate it. John Turner, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Let's take a look at wow. Wow. Bearish engulfing candle yesterday. Over an inside day, right? So it's an inside-outside day. Closed below the 80 MA right here, increased volume, and got a little bit of follow through the downside. Let's see if they can hold on to it or not. We did talk about this yesterday, that it could be working on a cup and handle right now, so it may be in the handle phase. So just kind of keep an eye on it, see how it goes. And then GSHD. Goosehead, look at that. Big volume today on this one, all the way to 200 days. So watch this potential resistance. Good stuff there. Roblox. So Roblox had a little bit of a oof after hours, right? We're below the 80 MA right now, so let's see how far it went down. Yeah, not good. They put out some numbers, like their operating numbers or something like that, and it wasn't good. The market didn't like it. So it's going to be down about 82 right here. It could be an area of support, so see how that holds. Like we said, this wave 4 might not be in. It's got plenty of room to get to wave 1 if it wants to. So at this point now, it could turn into a zigzag, right? So we kind of had this like kind of this type of symmetrical move, which might be interesting, and then we'll see if it goes up from there on Roblox. So good stuff there. And then Troop, yeah. So Troop is a great one. Great candle yesterday. Again, we talked about the harmonic. It looks like we had a little bit of follow through here today too, as it's working on that side wing. So nice stuff there too. Otas, what's going on? Good to see you. Let's take a look at Wish. So Wish kind of spinning top here at the 50-day moving average. A little bit of struggle right there, but we'll see how it goes. It's also at the 80 MA. AMC, they're trying to pump this one. They really are trading this one a lot in the morning, trying to get some moves on it. Sometimes it goes, sometimes it stays. It's getting really, really choppy up here, guys. I think today was a pretty good candle to watch, right? It could give us a nice geometrical, but this thing does want to break out. Kind of getting a little bit of a triangular here. So let's see how that goes here for AMC over the next week or so. And then Boeing. So Boeing with an inside day today. You're just kind of hanging in here at the cloud. Let's see how it goes. Kind of drifting lower. I wouldn't be surprised if it pierced the cloud if we did get to the 50-day moving average and started to fill this gap. So that's another thing that we're tracking there too. And then Snap. And Snap. So again, Snap back to the 80 MA right here. Let's see how that holds, right? Try to get out of the triangle breakout right here. Came back, retested, gave a little bit of a move. So the real question is, right, is this kind of like a 1-2 type move, and maybe we'll get a wave 3 up. So we'll see how it goes for Snap. Tricky name. And Otas, what does it mean when the stock makes all-time highs and then rejects hard like Facebook did today? Yeah, I mean, you just can't, sometimes they make all-time highs every day, every week, and all that stuff. It just is what it is. It just means it's price discovery, right? So the difference between trading down here and trading up here is that there's no price action, right? So there's no price action up here. So anytime you get above the all-time highs, right, you're in a world of your own, right? So it's there's no sellers up there. I mean, there could be fresh short sellers, right? But there's there's got to be buyers behind you. And if this thing's going to go, it's got to get volume. Now, we had good volume today, right, on this one, but a lot of it was to the downside, right? We had a big red candle, big upper shadow right here. We had a big volume candle right here, red candle, right? So we started to see that a lot here today on Facebook, right? So that's just what happens, right? So, but if you start to see them plowing in with some real volume, that's a big signal here that maybe at all-time highs they want to hold it above it. So we'll see how it goes. It could just chop up here. We might just do a flag or a triangle or something like that. So we'll see how that goes. Armando, good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you're doing well too. Yeah, let's take a look and see what you got. So you got UPS on the radar. Let's take a look. So amazing stuff yesterday, guys. FedEx was super weak and then it was bullish at the close today. UPS is generally pretty weak here, but it's holding its 50-day. There's a couple levels up here. So just kind of check, watch this, see how it goes. Getting kind of tight. I mean, if anything, this might actually, it's kind of looking like a bear pennant off of the last down move. Some huge gaps below on this thing, so just kind of keep an eye on it, see how it goes. Might be affected by some commodity prices, things like that, but just see how it goes. Even get back over the ADMA with some volume, that could be a good one. Ollie Wally, what's going on? CVX, yeah, so oil. Goldman with the big oil upgrade today after a couple weak names on these the other day. So big push here on CVX, and XOM was another one too. Kind of look like a cup and handle there on CVX, and kind of ish here on XOM. But this is a kind of a different example here from Facebook. Now we're not at all-time highs, but we're definitely poking our head above this level right here with increased volume. So keep an eye on that. See if XOM's ready to make a move. Some good stuff there. Gina Solo, what's going on? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, let's take a look at Tesla. So Tesla. Let's take a look. So Tesla getting really, really tight here, guys. But today's down move is sort of what we've been kind of tracking, right? So we've been talking about, yesterday we talked about the channels. Talked about this channel right here is corrective channel up. A, B, C, maybe wave 4 right here. If it breaks down to this channel right here, we start to work our way to the lows. I still think there's a possibility we get the symmetrical move down here to fill this gap, or at least test this gap off of the triangle. I know it takes us down to 400 or something, but it's possible. It's possible. So maybe the more Elon focuses on Bitcoin instead of making cars, maybe Tesla will start moving again, right? So that type of stuff. Anyway, so David, what's going on? Good to see you. Let's take a look at X. Marks this spot. So X again, back into yesterday's range, right? It looked like it was working up pretty well right here. We got a nice retrace off of this one. It looks like a 786 to 886 area, right? So see if that holds. A little volume would be nice on this one to see if we can continue to push its way up the channel. GM, let's take a look. GM with a bit of a spinning top right here, right at the bottom of our old channel right here. So we kind of undershot it. Maybe we're coming back retesting. So see if it does try to take that doji up. And then NOC, let's take a look. Yep, so another War Machine type name right here. Again, we got some pretty important levels up here to kind of contend with. Could be working on an ascending triangle, so something to keep an eye on there too. Keep in mind, ascending triangles do like to fail a lot. So Riot Keeper, how often do you commit your technical analysis of there is bigger news, Fed, etc.? Oftentimes it does play in. It just depends how you use it, right? So intraday, like a lot of times we go through the Fed and it hits our technical analysis, but for me, oftentimes it's too fast. Right, so I'll be like, oh wow, cool, that's a great dip buy right there. We got a nice, bearish divergence or nice bullish divergence. We got some good volume coming in the candle, right? That type of thing, right? And sometimes you can trade it and get a move, but for the most part, I don't even mess with it, right? So, but yeah, Fed, I mean, basically the big rule out there is, right, don't bet against the Fed. That's the big thing right there. So we like to wait. It's good, it's healthy not to swing through Fed days. And day trading through it is possible. There's just, you gotta have some good techniques on that. So a little bit of caution there. So good. So Finro, what's going on? TTM LRC on TOS updates and populates as regards dynamically on the move. Exactly. So that's what I was saying. We want to be careful with that, right? So this is not, although it is cool and interesting, it's not what we want to use for the techniques we're going to be talking about this week. The very, very cool stuff. John, spot, let's take a look. Yeah, spot looking kind of interesting right here. Back to 50-day moving average. Just kind of keep an eye right here. Make sure it's not working on a bear flag. Coming back up to the 50-day in the cloud. And PayPal. Let's take a look. So PayPal. Kind of working on that harmonic we were talking about, right? So we had this harmonic move right here. It may have a little bit more into it. I mean, if it really wanted to go, we could do a 618 extension on this from here to here to here. Oh wow, this is possibly working on a crab pattern. So 3.618 is 283 if it really wanted to go, but that's kind of like a pretty good extension off of that harmonic. So something to keep an eye on there. Good stuff. Thanks so much. Hope you have a great day. I am game. What's going on? Good to see you. Let's take a look at Amazon. Excuse me. Amazon in the zone. So this one here today, guys. We had this nice kind of doji sandwich up right here. We tried to do another one right here, another measure move up, and just kind of ran out of steam. So I'd be careful with this, right? So for instance, the Fed is weak tomorrow. Amazon might be one to look at for a short reversal opportunity on that. So just kind of keep that on the radar going into tomorrow. And Mrs. Mosby, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you're doing great. Let's look at UWMC. A little bit of a lower shadow off the ADMA, so it could be some promise there. SE, again, hanging on to the ADMA here too. AI, let's take a look. Still struggling, unfortunately. I had a nice breakout right here into the cloud. And let's just kind of see, this could be an ABC down, right? So one of the things we might want to look at here is this, just see how far this ABC is going. If this looks like a wave one up, right? Yeah, we're right at the 618 right here, so it could, right? I'd like to see some volume get back above the ADMA and start to slice through this cloud to see if it really wants to get going. Tricky name. Path, let's take a look. Path with an upper shadow off the ADMA, so let's see if it breaks down below today's lows if we want to see more downside. FSLY, bearish engulfing candle today, so keep an eye on that if it breaks down below the ADMA. And then NVIDIA. NVIDIA with an inside day, again, close to all-time highs. So again, this will be an important one to see how it handles today's levels. So good stuff there. Otas, yeah, my pleasure. Thanks so much. Dan, what's going on? Happy day. Yeah, let's take a look at SCCO. Let's take a look. SCCO. Wow, nasty day on this one here today. Southern Copper. A lot of these names got hit because I think folks are like a little bit concerned going into the Fed or whatever the case is right here. We talked about it a little bit in the bubble report this morning. Kind of keep an eye on your geometric line right here, see how that holds. Other than that, you know, we could put a channel on it here too. This. Kind of look at it as trying to get back, right? So it failed breakout right there. It might come back, retest. Let's see if we can get back over the 200-day on this one. So good stuff there. Ken, what's going on? Yeah, Roku with a sharp reversal today. So Roku with a sharp reversal. A strong candle yesterday as our trade of the week. Fortunately, yesterday it was a good profitable day. Today it was like, nope, out. Right, so that type of thing. Back into the channel. So, but really cool stuff. We drew this yesterday. Right back into the channel here, and we'll see how that holds going into tomorrow. Google, let's take a look. Nice. So Google, yeah, kind of a bearish engulfing candle on this one too. So a little bit of caution on that too. Yeah, but again, it's kind of grinding its way up at all-time highs. Yeah, Finra, yeah, all good. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm not saying it's not an awesome tool. You just have to configure it, you know, to your liking. You know, make sure it's got all the settings you want and all that stuff. But just for what we're talking about this week, we're not using it. But it is a great tool. We got a few videos on that in the archives here too. So good. So yeah, Qs. Let's take a look at Qs and see how they're looking here. Qs. Yep, inside day. So kind of a little pullback right here, down about 0.65%, but just kind of chopping around, guys. Again, it's all about the Fed tomorrow, and even if it doesn't move after the Fed, it's all about the quad witching, and even if it doesn't move after the quad witching, the new options might get things going again on Monday, right? So that's definitely something to keep an eye on there too. Other than that, guys, a couple other things. Let's see. We talked about Fubo yesterday. Just wanted to see how that ended up performing today. So it gave us a nice move. This is our action idea from yesterday. We talked about it, and here's your move at the open. Right, you got a nice candle right here with increased volume, and then there's your inside 15 down for a nice trade. So if anybody got to mess with that today, Fubo is an action name. Remember, we talked about it yesterday. Had a big move and got really, really tight, and then started to move again. As for tonight, I don't really have too much on the radar for an action name. Let me see what I got here. Give me 1 second, guys, and we'll take a look here and see. Let's see. We've got this. Give me 2 seconds here, guys, and find my list. 1 second. Sorry, so many buttons I gotta go just to get somewhere. Let's see. There may not be much on here today, although there has been a lot of chop here recently. Honestly, guys, Apple is a name to keep an eye on the radar tomorrow. Could be interesting. Another one to keep on the radar, maybe. Let me see here if I can pull up my other screen. Let's see. Yeah, keep an eye on Starbucks too. So Apple and Starbucks could be interesting. Let's take a look at those. So Starbucks here, guys. Let me just pull this up right here. So Starbucks getting tight. Right, see if we get a push, depending where we open. Yeah, kind of maybe a push kind of over this level right here, about that 112 level. And then anything below these levels right here, about this 111.50, you know, kind of area, Starbucks might get moving. Another one is Apple too, that ended up getting really tight after a big move. This is one of my favorites. This is probably going to make the bubble report tomorrow. You've got a big signal zone below, so under 129.50 we could hit here, but we got a couple interesting levels right here, like over 130. So keep an eye on Apple there too. So there's a couple names that'll be on my radar going into tomorrow morning to look for some strength or weakness right at the open. But good stuff there, guys. I really appreciate everybody for tuning in. I hope everybody has a wonderful night tonight. We'll see you guys bright and early right here on YouTube for the Good Morning Market Prep video. Be sure to check out the links in the description, and I hope everybody has an awesome evening. We'll see you guys again tomorrow morning, and until then, stay healthy out there, and remember your risk first and stay safe so you can stay in the game.